Here's your wrestling news for February 27th, 2026. Your headlines for today include: is WWE planning to kill Masked Man storyline after Bronson Reed injury? WWE facing internal panic as WrestleMania plans remain unfinished. WWE draft status revealed after 2-year absence. AJ Styles breaks silence on WWE management pressure after big move. New footage reveals third car involved in Vince McMahon crash. Real reason AEW changed title match result on the fly. Real reason behind Tiffany Stratton's post-title loss absence. Finn Bálor addresses criticism over WrestleMania relevance, and more. Bronson Reed's injury situation has taken a serious turn, and the fallout is already affecting multiple WrestleMania storylines. After suffering a distal biceps tear on Raw, Reed was immediately sent to Birmingham, Alabama for further medical evaluation, according to PW Insider. Surgery is expected, and his status is currently listed as indefinitely out of action, which makes clear this is not a minor setback. For a completely torn distal biceps tendon, surgery is almost always required. Recovery timelines for wrestlers typically range from 4 to 6 months, though returning to full, high-intensity competition can sometimes take 9 months or more depending on rehab progress. But this injury isn't just about Reed being sidelined. According to Fightful Select, his injury disrupted a larger creative direction involving the Masked Mystery Man and Logan Paul. Both were reportedly planned to factor into the finish of the match. Once Reed went down, WWE had to abandon those plans on the fly. That means the Masked Man storyline is now expected to undergo significant changes as creative adjusts heading into WrestleMania season. Reed's injury doesn't just remove him from a minor spot, it creates ripple effects. WrestleMania plans now need reworking, the Masked Man angle likely shifts direction, and Logan Paul's involvement may have to be repositioned entirely. WWE now faces a critical choice. Do they pivot the Masked Man angle towards someone already established? Do they accelerate the reveal? Or do they delay the payoff and rebuild the story from a different angle? Injuries are a part of the business, but this one clearly altered something bigger behind the scenes. WWE is reportedly feeling serious pressure behind the scenes as WrestleMania draws closer, and according to a new report, the situation is far from settled. Speaking on WrestleVotes Radio, Joey Votes painted a tense picture of what's happening internally in Stamford. From what we're hearing, there's a lot of panic going on in Stamford right now, and I don't use that word lightly. Panic may even be underselling it. There are constant meetings, constant discussions, constant updates being given left and right as they try to finalize this WrestleMania card. That level of uncertainty is unusual this close to WrestleMania 42. Typically by this stage, the major matches are locked in and the direction is clear. Normally by this point, a good portion of the WrestleMania card is set, locked in, and everybody knows where things are headed. That's not the case this year. Things are still very much in flux. The bigger issue, according to the report, isn't just creative storytelling. The delays are now affecting multiple departments within the company. This isn't just about creative direction. There are business elements tied into this. There are marketing plans, there are merchandise plans, there are promotional campaigns that all depend on knowing what these matches are going to be. You have multiple departments waiting on final decisions so they can proceed with what they need to do, and those decisions just aren't finalized yet. These decisions, we're told, have to be finalized this week. There really isn't much more time to delay, especially with WrestleMania being right around the corner. Injuries and shifting creative priorities have reportedly forced WWE into a series of last-minute adjustments, leading to what's been described as meeting after meeting in an attempt to stabilize the card. There's a lot of moving parts right now, a lot of last-minute changes, and it's forcing them to have meeting after meeting after meeting trying to figure out what the final card is going to look like. They're working against the clock at this point. They need to get these decisions made so everything else can fall into place. WrestleMania is not just a show, it's a massive business engine. Marketing campaigns, merchandise launches, sponsor integrations, and media appearances all hinge on finalized match announcements. Without clarity, everything stalls. Now the pressure is on. How WWE navigates this crunch period could shape not only the WrestleMania presentation, but which superstars ultimately receive the spotlight on the biggest stage of the year. Over the past few days, several online reports have suggested that the Mystery Crate storyline could be tied to the return of the WWE Draft, with speculation claiming the podium inside the crate would be revealed at Elimination Chamber. However, a new update throws cold water on that theory. According to a report from Body Slam, WWE does not currently have a tentative date set for a draft this year. That detail is significant, especially considering the company skipped the draft entirely in 2025. Interestingly, the absence of a draft last year wasn't due to a lack of opportunity. ESPN reportedly pushed to host the event, which could have positioned the draft as a more mainstream, sports-style spectacle. Despite internal discussions and outside interest, those talks ultimately led nowhere, and the draft simply didn't happen. Instead of a formal, televised shakeup, WWE opted for a quieter strategy. Talent was gradually reshuffled between Raw and SmackDown throughout the year. NXT call-ups were used to refresh both brands organically. The result? Roster movement without the spectacle of a dedicated draft night. That same approach now appears likely for 2026. Rather than staging a major draft event with podiums and televised selections, WWE seems comfortable making gradual roster adjustments when creative calls for it. It gives them flexibility, it avoids locking talent into rigid brand alignments, and it allows long-term storylines to develop without the disruption of a massive reset. If that's the direction, then the mystery crate equals draft podium theory may just be wishful thinking from fans looking for a big surprise. So now the bigger question becomes this: should WWE bring back the draft as a major annual event, especially with networks like ESPN interested? Or is the quiet reshuffle strategy better for long-term storytelling? Sound off in the comments below. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. AJ Styles may be done competing inside the ropes, but he's not done with WWE. According to PW Insider on February 26th, multiple sources have confirmed that AJ Styles has signed a new deal with WWE that will keep him with the company for at least 2 more years. The expectation is that Styles will transition into a behind-the-scenes role, specifically helping with talent development and mentoring the next generation. That news comes amid ongoing speculation about whether his recent Hall of Fame induction was designed to prevent any potential move to All Elite Wrestling. In his Undisputed newsletter, Justin Barrasso suggested the induction may have strategically closed the door on a surprise AEW appearance. The report also noted that AEW was reportedly prepared to offer Styles a lucrative deal with strong financial terms and a lighter schedule. Styles has now directly addressed that narrative. Appearing alongside Frankie Kazarian on Talkin' Shop Live, Styles pushed back against the theory that WWE maneuvered him into retirement to block another company. Let me give you something to talk about. So everybody wants to say, oh, WWE put him in the Hall of Fame so that he couldn't go to AEW. Guys, I'm retired from wrestling in the ring. Like, that's all this is. I make my own choices, I make my own decisions, I was ready. His words leave little room for interpretation. According to Styles, this wasn't corporate strategy, it was personal timing. After decades in the ring, he chose to step away on his own terms. Now, instead of rumors about one final run elsewhere, the focus shifts to what kind of influence he can have behind the curtain. If Styles brings the same intensity and attention to detail to talent development that he brought to his in-ring career, WWE's next generation could benefit significantly. Tiffany Stratton isn't just reflecting on her title loss, she's placing the blame squarely on Jade Cargill. At Saturday night's main event on November 1st, Stratton lost the WWE Women's Championship to Cargill in a match that also left her with a legitimate knee injury. That injury kept her sidelined for 3 months, but in a recent interview with ESPN ahead of Elimination Chamber, Stratton made it clear she doesn't view the injury as bad luck or coincidence. In her mind, it traces directly back to the champion. Right now, the women's champion is Jade Cargill, and she did injure my knee a couple of months ago, and unfortunately I lost my title to her. That line stood out. By directly stating that Cargill injured her, she's shifting the narrative from simple defeat to damage done. The injury didn't just cost her time, she believes it cost her the title. Now that she's back after returning at the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber isn't just about opportunity, it's about payback. And by openly blaming Jade Cargill, Stratton may have just added a new layer of tension to an already heated championship picture. New footage has added another layer to Vince McMahon's July 2025 car crash, revealing that a third vehicle was involved in the aftermath of the incident. Dashcam video previously showed McMahon driving his Bentley Continental GT Speed at a high rate of speed on Route 15 in Westport, Connecticut, before colliding with a BMW and crashing into a guardrail. At the time, the focus remained on the 2 primary vehicles. However, on February 25th, the Law and Crime Network released additional footage that confirmed another car was affected during the chaos. The newly surfaced video shows debris from the crash striking a Ford Fusion in the southbound lane. An unexpected detail quickly drew attention. The narration in the footage states, "Some of the debris in the southbound lane struck this Ford Fusion. Ironically, the driver of that car was wearing a WWE t-shirt." Officers at the scene noted that the vehicle would not be drivable following the impact. The driver of the Ford Fusion described how quickly the situation unfolded as debris scattered across the highway. "You see what happened over there? I saw the dirt come flying. That was the next thing I saw. I swerved enough so that I wouldn't take it underneath. This is a Ford Fusion hybrid. I saw the dirt and everything come flying. That was the next one that came out. I was able to get out before it probably got worse." The footage ultimately confirmed that none of the 3 vehicles involved were able to leave under their own power. McMahon had previously been charged with reckless driving and entered a pre-trial program in connection with the crash. The latest angle, however, highlights how far the impact extended beyond the initial collision. With additional footage continuing to surface, the broader scope of the incident remains under scrutiny. As more details come to light, the question now is whether any further legal or civil consequences could follow from what is becoming an increasingly layered case. On the latest episode of AEW Dynamite, Penelope Ford suffered an injury during the women's tag team title match, forcing AEW to change the finish on the fly. Ford was teaming with Megan Bayne against the reigning champions, the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, when things took an unexpected turn. During a commercial break, fans in attendance captured photos of Ford being evaluated by medical staff at ringside, immediately sparking concern. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Ford sustained an injury mid-match that took her out of the bout entirely. As a result, an audible was called. Instead of continuing the match as a 2-on-1 situation, which would have left Bayne fighting from underneath as the heel, AEW pivoted to a disqualification finish. Sapp reported, "During Babes of Wrath vs. Megabad, Penelope Ford sustained an injury that took her out of the match. An audible was called during the match that Lena Cross would run in and cause a DQ instead of leaving the match a 2-on-1 where the heel in Bayne had to fight from underneath. During the commercial break, Penelope Ford was checked on and ruled out of the match. After Harley Cameron tagged out, she largely stayed out of the match as well." The revised ending saw new AEW signing Lena Cross run in and attack Willow Nightingale, resulting in the disqualification and protecting all parties involved. It was a quick thinking adjustment, but one clearly made out of necessity. Photos have since surfaced online showing Ford on crutches, adding to concerns about the severity of the injury. The timing is especially unfortunate given her recent return and growing momentum. She had only recently returned from a previous injury that had kept her sidelined for months and had begun building momentum alongside Bayne in AEW's developing women's tag division. While the exact nature and severity of the injury have not yet been disclosed, any extended absence would be another setback for a division still working to establish consistency and depth. For now, the focus shifts to Ford's condition and recovery. Hopefully the injury proves minor and she's able to return without another lengthy layoff. Finn Bálor isn't entertaining the noise, and he made that clear when asked about critics questioning his place in the WrestleMania main event conversation. During an appearance on Adrian Hernandez's Unlikely podcast, the former Universal Champion directly addressed online fans who argue he doesn't belong alongside names like Roman Reigns and CM Punk on a WrestleMania poster. Bálor dismissed the criticism immediately. "You know, doubters online that are sitting on a computer tweeting and talking doesn't really enter my mind space at all." Rather than focus on social media reactions, Bálor explained that the only opinions that carry weight are from people inside WWE, the executives, and the locker room. "The people who I listen to are my bosses and my colleagues, and to have the respect of your peers is something that is way more valuable than the support of a small group of doubters." He then pointed to his 25-year journey through the business as proof that his resume stands on its own. From training in catch wrestling to spending years in Japan's dojo system, Bálor emphasized that nothing about his rise was accidental. "So if after 25 years of doing everything in the business, from learning catch wrestling for 6 years to going to Japan and studying in the dojos for 8 years to coming to WWE and being a success, not a what if, not a failure. Oh, he got injured and relinquished the title. No, I showed up in WWE, beat Roman my first night, and beat Seth on my first pay-per-view 3 weeks later to become the first Universal Champion." Bálor also reflected on how unlikely his path truly was, coming from a small town in Ireland with virtually no wrestling infrastructure. "Being from a small town in Ireland with no wrestling schools, no wrestling promotions, barely wrestling on the TV. So for me, that's a success story. So if I don't belong on the WrestleMania poster, I don't know who does." For Bálor, this isn't about online approval, it's about longevity, credibility, and the respect he's earned over decades. Whether fans agree or not, he clearly believes his body of work already answers the question. Don't miss our next video coming at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with all the latest wrestling updates. Smash that bell icon and select all notifications so you're always in the loop.